Hello everyone, this is Ironhide X. Today I'm introducing a new game I'm going to be doing guides on and reviews and everything that I do with games. This game is Naval Action. Naval Action is an Age of Sail MMO kind of thing. Um, if you ever watched any of my previous videos, World of Warships, I like ship combat a lot. So this is Age of Sail. No torpedoes here, no airplanes here. Um, it's a really big sandbox MMO. More of a people would call it a simulator, really. Um, the ships, everything's skill shot based. Very big player-driven economy. Huge crafting system. It gets really in depth. So I've been playing this game. I'm not sure on my hour so far, but it's got to be pretty high up there. I wouldn't start doing reviews and guides and whatnot until I'd played a game for a good while. Um, so anybody that's interested in any kind of selling kind of game or naval combat, I highly recommend this game. This game's a lot of fun. Um, I can't recommend it enough. I'm really stoked for this game. I'm glad I bought it. I've had a lot of fun leveling up in it and getting ships and trading and the combat on it and just everything about the game I think is really cool. I like the community. It's got a really good community. It's not very toxic like some of the other ones. The combat's fun. A lot of the crafting stuff is cool. Um, I'm a really big fan of it. There's nothing else I could say about it. So that said, I'm gonna start producing guides. Starting off where the more basic guides, what you need to know. Starting off. Um, so first off, if anybody ever wants to message me in game or anything, I play on the US PvP server. I like that, so you can be attacked anywhere by anything, and I really like that. My in-game name is Iron, so feel free to send me a message anytime if you have questions or whatever. Um, So more about this game. Like I said, it's player-driven economy. Um, if, for instance, at Port Royal they need iron ore, for instance, it's players that go to the other ports with trading ships and they pick up the ore and they bring it back to there and they can list it for prices. And I really like that. The crafting system is really intense. The combat's really fun. Um, I really like the way they've done this game, and I really like how active the game developers are. Uh, Sorry, there's a little bit of slowdown right here. It's because of my computer's not first rate, but I've since changed the settings so my other cuts shouldn't have that lag. Okay, so that said, let's get into some of the basics. So you've heard what I think about the game. I love it. Now let's go over some of the basic things you're going to need to know when you start playing the game. First off, I'm going to go over combat. So combat in this game, again, everything's manual shooting and whatnot. There's no point and click or anything like that. Everything's manual. Um, and I'm actually going to go over now. The number one most important thing, guys, is shooting. Actually, how to shoot your cannons, hit the targets, and the different ways to do that. Alright, so one of the first things about shooting, guys, is you have two, on my particular ship, the Mercury, I have guns on my left and right side. If you look to your ship on the right hand side and you hit right click, you'll go into gunnery mode, such as this. And if you look on the left side, you'll do the same thing from the other side. So that's how you decide which side of the ship you want to shoot, is your right side or your left side. You just look that way, hit right click, and you'll get your little aiming reticle out. Now, if you look at how I'm shooting here, guys, I know it looks like one crosshair, but there's actually two things you need to be aware of. If you see the little red dash, that is your gun elevation. So based on how far your target is and whatnot, that's your gun elevation. That's your up and down. So you want to put that around the enemy ship of the how high you want it to shoot. So if they're farther away, you may need to take it up a bit, and if they're point blank, how low on the ship you want to shoot. The second important thing, guys, is if you look at the water here, you'll see a little guideline, a little outline there on my left side, and that's the actual cannon that you're going to fire. And so what you want to do is you right click, that's going to bring up your aiming thing here. And then after that, there's two ways to fire. You can do single shot where you aim and fire each shot, and you can do a volley shot. Now if you just tap your space bar by default, it will fire one cannon at a time. That allows you to be the most accurate, and that's what we'll go over first. See here, I'm tapping spacebar. I'm firing one cannon at a time so I can place each shot because you're going to be maneuvering, and reloading can take a second. So I prefer to be more accurate. And then also two more things with shooting. If you see here, it says unlocked, locked, sector, auto. I prefer to do unlocked. And unlocked mode, what that does is it sets the convergence of your cannons to wherever your red dash is. That's what unlocked is. Locked is where your cannons, they don't converge, they just go straight out. You can also set it for 100 meters and 250 meters, and that's just how far the convergence of your guns, where they'll cross at. But I prefer unlocked because they'll automatically converge on where your red dash is. Now, like you just seen right here, this is what happens if you hold down right click, and if you just left click instead of hitting your space bar, you'll volley fire. And what volley fire is helpful for is if you're coming up and you're point blank on an enemy ship, or you're passing another ship very quick and you want to just try to get maximum firepower out, you can right click, get on your gun mode, and then you can left click and you'll fire everything you got really, really quickly. The downside, of course, it's much, much, much more inaccurate. So depending on how close the ship is that you're shooting at and how big of a target it makes, is whether it's worth doing that or not. In most cases, I like to just tap shot. Okay, so that's the basic gunnery, guys. Is the use your red thing for elevation, your red dash for elevation, and then keep an eye on your gun lines on the water. Where your red dash is not necessarily where your shell is going to go, because you have to use the two in concert with each other. Now, the next thing I'm going to cover for combat real quick is manually tacking your cells. Now, when you go into the wind, like I'm doing right here, and like I was doing earlier, if you don't manually tack your cells, you're going to go to a dead stop, and it'll take you forever to turn into the wind. What I do, guys, is I auto sail. You can hit F, and that'll do auto sail. And I only manual tack when I'm turning into the wind. And here, I know I've heard other guides on how to do it. I'm going to tell you the simplest way to do it. If you're going to turn into the wind to the right, hit D and C. And so you want to hit your C or your back. Your C and Z are your back sails. And so hit them for whichever way you want to turn. So if I'm going to turn right, I'm going to hit D and C. If I'm going to turn left, I'm going to hit A and Z. And then for your forward sail, what you want to do is you want to hit the opposite direction. So let's say I'm going right into the wind, hit D and C, so you'll start turning right, and then hit Q, right? And then if you want to turn into the wind to the left or to the port, hit A and Z, and then hit the opposite side of your forward sail, which would be E. Now your forward sail is controlled by Q and E, your rear sail tacking is controlled by Z and C, and then your rudder is A and D. So again, to go left, A, Z, E. To go right, D, C, Q. So there, guys, is the basics on how to shoot and how to tack into the wind. Those are probably the two most important things to know as you're starting out in the game. I am by no means an expert on the game, and I am by no means a sailor. I've never sailed in my life. So a lot of the terminology here with sailing, I'm going to get wrong. Please forgive me. I'm going to try to learn as much as I can as I go. I hope you enjoyed the guide, and I have many more already in the works coming very soon. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.